All right, welcome everybody to the training today. We're talking Volusion and e-commerce in general. Specifically, we're talking about returns for our customers and kind of everything that you'll need to know about having a return policy and why that's important and why it matters. I actually have this little infographic here on my screen. This actually came from entrepreneur.com about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I thought the infographic was a perfect start to why we're talking about returns today. So let me just kind of show this to you a little bit. It says at the top, return to center, what consumers want from returns and why it matters. And it says underneath that, with e-commerce growing rapidly and free shipping becoming the norm. And by the way, guys, isn't that true? Free shipping is becoming more and more of the norm. And so for you guys to compete, I know this isn't a shipping webinar, but we would like to see you offer some free shipping options on your websites. All eyes are on returns. All right, so a survey sponsored by shipping technology leader Indicia, boy, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Indicia, revealed new insights from American shoppers. Okay, so this is a survey they did. And I want to show you kind of some of the important parts of the survey, some things that we're going to want to look at specifically, okay? Number one, if you look up here to the right, it says, what about return labels? 62% want a return label right in the box. Okay, and by the way, I know some of your returns on your website are going to be dependent on your supplier's policies because, look, most of you guys are drop shipping, so really, you don't get to set the terms of your return policy as much, right? Aren't you sort of just parroting to your customers the return policy of your supplier? I think you are. So my first piece of advice to all of you guys, if you don't know your supplier's return policy, it's time to learn it, and it's time to learn it now because returns are extremely important. I used to have clients say to me, Trevor, I don't want to deal with returns. I'm just going to say no returns on my website, but that doesn't work anymore. Returns are expected, and it's often a really, really big part of the buying process and the decision-making process as to whether or not somebody does pull the trigger and buy from your site. You need to have a returns policy. All right, so 61% want easy-to-print return labels. Okay, so that's not as interesting to us right now. What do consumers want? Over 50% want free return shipping. You guys that shop online here that are with me at the webinar, do you notice that most of the time return shipping is free? A lot of you guys shop online. I know some of you guys do Amazon and Target, and do you notice that those suppliers often will just pay for shipping for almost for any reason? Even if you don't like the product, they'll just pay for it. That happens a fair bit. People like that. They like the idea of being able to buy something and then just have it shipped back for free. And I would say most of your drop shipping suppliers are fine to do that if there's a problem. So if it's broken in transit and it arrives, or it's an item that arrives and it's the wrong color, or it's a mistake that's made on our end, right? Your end is the seller or your supplier's end. In most cases, your supplier, I would imagine, will give them some sort of free shipping to send it back. But if it's someone who just simply buys the item, decides later they don't want it, and tries to return it, that may not be the case. Okay, so I need you guys to figure that out. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. Second thing, what do consumers want? They want easy, convenient return shipping process. So this part can't be confusing. And then a swift refund or store credit, 12% want to see that. Let's see if there's anything else notable I want to point out. 89%, right here at the bottom right, 89% of people say they'll shop again at an online store after a positive returns experience. You guys want to keep long-term customers. You need to make sure if there is a return, you do a good job with it. And then I think this is probably, for me, and for how it relates to you guys, I want you to take a good look at this spot here at the very bottom. Okay, this is 46% of online shoppers keep purchases they don't want because returning is too, and then 3 reasons. Returning an item is too inconvenient for them, it's too expensive for them, or it's too confusing for them. And I'd like to try to eliminate these because these obviously are a pain point for a lot of consumers. So I know you don't have full control over your return policy because after all, you guys aren't carrying your own inventory. So you have to know and understand and communicate what your return process is like based on your understanding of how your supplier does it. So step 1, go figure it out from your supplier. Most suppliers have a spot on their website where they're going to explain it in detail. And if they don't, you need to contact your supplier and find out so you can understand it and then sort of parrot that policy and put it onto your own site. Okay? All right, so let me come off of these stats for just a sec. And I want to talk to you guys about the nitty-gritty here inside Volusion as to how to edit and adjust your return policy. Now, a lot of you guys are going to have a return policy that's already built in onto your site. So here's an example of a test site. A lot of you guys on your site will have a shipping and deliveries page and then a returns and exchanges page right directly underneath that. Those of you guys who have websites here, how many of you guys already have a returns and exchanges page that you either built or was pre-built for you by the web developers? Because if you've got it, I'll bet it's right down here in your footer section. A lot of you guys do, okay? I'm going to talk to you guys first as if you don't have one of those, okay? If you don't have one of those or you want to put one in, let me show you how to do that first, all right? So what I usually do if I want to create a return policy is I just create a category. Okay, so let me log into this site and I'll show you what I mean. Hold on just a sec. It's attempting to try my patience here. We'll log in. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go into the admin portion of the site here, and I'm going to go up here to inventory and then categories. Okay, I'm going to create a new page, and the page, I know it's not going to carry products on it. An informational page is really what I'm wanting to create, but I can still create it as a category. So I'm going to add this category, and I'm going to call it a return policy. Okay. So there's the name. At least temporarily, I'm going to put it in my menu. Okay, I'll show you why here in just a second. If I select Nav Menu 1, that means it's just going to show up there at the very top of my website. And then right here under Category Descriptions, this is where I'm going to put information about my return. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to have this repeat over and over again so you guys get the point. There's my return policy, okay? And we'll write this out here in just a second. Okay, so there's my return policy. I am going to save this page. And let's go check it out. Because I put it in Nav Menu 1, it should show up here at the very top, in which case it does. Do you guys see that? Now, how many of you guys think that you need your return policy up here in your navigation menu? Do you think it's important enough to have it up here amongst all your other categories? I think there's a reason why maybe it could be. I typically don't have it up there. I mean, when I have people come to my sites, I prefer those areas up at the very top to be exclusively for my products and product categories. So I don't know if I would have it up here, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if you choose to put it up here. But I don't typically have it up there. No, I tend to put it down in my footer section. That's an interesting thought too, Lawrence. You say maybe it tells customers that you have a lot of returns. Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's a little bit of a negative connotation there. I think if I'm you guys, I'm reserving this area just for categories. This return policy, I think, belongs down here. Okay, belongs in your footer somewhere. And you'll find most websites do it that way. All right, so let's pretend for a minute that this returns and exchanges page doesn't exist. I'm going to edit this section. So I'm going to click edit. And I'm just going to put my mouse right here at the end of returns and exchanges. And I'm going to press enter to create a new line. And I'm going to call this my return policy. Now, again, I already know there's one just above that. But I'm going to create this new one pretending like this returns and exchanges page doesn't exist. So I just typed in the text there, and I'm going to hit this little check mark right here to save it. And there it is right there. Now it's saved. But you can see it's not clickable. I can't click on it here because it's not linked. If I want to link this page to my newly created return policy, which is up here, let me first start by clicking return policy. And then I'm going to come right up here, and you see this web address? Click return policy, and this web address right here, whatever shows up in your address bar, that's the URL for the page. That's the location of the page online. So I'm going to simply just copy this text, and then I'm going to come back down to return policy, and I'm going to edit this area again. So I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to highlight return policy like that. See that? Now return policy is highlighted, and I get this little set of 4 options. I can bold it, I can italicize it, I can put or I can delete the text, or I can link it, which is precisely what I want to do. So I'm going to click on this little chain link icon, and I'm going to select insert link. Okay, and it really is as simple as this. I'm going to paste in that address right here. Where did I get this? Well, I got it because I went up here and I clicked on return policy, and I got the address up here, right? Oh, hold on. Try that one more time. Highlight it. Click the insert link. Paste that in. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hit insert. I'm not going to open link in new tab, so you don't need to check that box. I'm just going to click insert. And it'll underline it so it's ready to go. But don't forget to click this little check mark right here. If you go to another page without clicking this little check mark to save this area, you've lost your work. So I click that area, and then sure enough, now I get a little link. I can now click on return policy, and it'll take me to that page. Okay, we'll test it. On the home page right now, I come down here and click return policy. It takes me to that page. Okay, pretty easy to do. Now, if I don't want return policy to show up here in my navigation menu anymore, that's an easy fix. I'm going to go back here to my back end of Volusion, and then I'm going to go inventory and then categories. And there's my return policy showing up in my navigation menu 1. And I'm just going to edit this real quick. I'm going to come over here and select the edit button or edit link right here to the right and click on it. And I'm going to simply just remove it right here where it says show in menu. I'm going to take it out and select the select option. Okay, I'm going to click on select here. And as always, I'm going to hit save. Okay, that took it out. It's now gone. And now if I go here to view store, notice that it's gone from the menu up top, right? But it remains down here, and so I can still get to my return policy from there. Guys, does that make sense? You guys see how I did that? If it's easier for you to do that, you could even come in here and highlight this returns and exchanges page and just delete it if you wanted. I'll show you how to edit that here in just a minute if that already exists on your site. Returns and exchanges, I could just click delete, and then save it, and that would be gone. Okay? That's kind of how you edit your footer area. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it so I can show you how to edit that. Questions about that so far? Was that, guys, did that seem easy? Was that an easy process to go through, or did that seem a little tough? I can quickly go through the steps again if that didn't make a lot of sense. Pretty easy? Yeah, most of you guys are saying not bad. Okay. Remember, this is recorded, so you guys can rewind and watch that process again. Remember, the whole reason why when I first created the return page and I put it in the nav menu 1 up here at the top is so that I knew what the page address was. And I could copy that address and paste it down there. Okay, let's say I had some other page I wanted to do, right? I'll do this really fast so you can see how this might work. I'm going to go to categories. I'm going to add a page. We'll pretend this is my contact us page, we'll call it. So I could call it contact us right here. I could select nav menu 1 and I could save it. And then if I view my site, contact us shows up here, right? Okay, so if I click contact us, it takes me to the contact us page. Notice the web address up here. I want to save this, so I'm going to copy this web address. And that way, when I come down here to customers and I hit edit, I can create a space right here and call it contact us. And then I hit the little check mark to save it. So there it is. And then if I edit this section, I can highlight contact us and I can simply link it. And I already have my URL because I copied it from up here. So I can right click, paste it in, and insert. Remember to hit the little check mark there. And sure enough, there it is. There's my contact us page. Okay. Then I can get rid of contact us by going here and coming up and hitting edit this category. And we want to just take it out of the nav menu 1. So I'm going to pull that out, turn it to select, hit save, and contact us will now be gone. Not up in my menu anymore here at the top, but it is down here below in my customers section. Okay. Real simple, right? I show you that so you can not only do the returns page, but you could do any informational page that you wanted. You could do a shipping page, a contact us page, a donations page, a blog page. I mean, whatever you wanted to create, you can create it right down here in the footer with that skill. Okay. All right. So easy enough. So let's talk about this page right here. If you currently have a returns and exchanges page and you click on it, it might look something like this. Okay. So how do I edit this section? Well, you'll notice if I put my mouse over it, I get this little edit box, and I could come over here and select edit. You see how I did that? Let's cancel that and show you one more time. See how I put my mouse over it? I get this blue box for editing. I can come right over here, select edit, and then I can put whatever I want in here, right? And then I can hit save, and that saved that information. So that's pretty easy. So if you already have an existing returns page down here, you can edit it just that simply, okay? The other area you can go to edit that information, I believe, is somewhere here in design and then site content, okay? So you go design, site content. I'm going to click on this area here. And within this area, I'm going to scroll down so you can see all the information here. Somewhere here, there's a returns section, okay? This is all the content that's on your site, all the informational pages and stuff, okay? A lot of content here. The returns area is usually number 3 here. I believe these are called articles. So you're going to look for article ID number 3, and there's your returns. And you see this jumbled text that I created just a few minutes ago. You can edit that here by coming in and clicking the number 3 and editing the text right here. Okay. You can also edit the title of the text. If you want to just call this return policy, you can. And then you can put information here in the article body. I can hit save. I can go back out to my site, and it should be there under the returns and exchanges page. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Is that pretty easy to follow in terms of just how the technical part, how to get in there and actually edit that page? If I want to edit my new one, which is a category, if I click on return policy, I can simply go up here and hit edit and select this category. And then I can scroll down here to advanced info, and it's here under category description. That's if I've created my own new one, okay? All right, guys, questions about the technical side of it. I want to make sure you're clear on that before we finalize our session today with the what should go there. And Lawrence, to your question, you said, did we get a site email to use in the contact us? You can have a site email. The way our system does it is you can have whatever you want it to be. You could call it support@yourdomainname.com, info@yourdomainname.com. You could use your name, Lawrence@yourdomainname.com. You let us know, let your coach know what your email needs to be, and then they'll create a forward on it so that if somebody does email you there, it forwards over to an inbox of your choice. We won't cover that today as much because we're doing returns today, but we will be doing contact us soon, and we can talk more about it then. Bracky, you say when Volusion, or when my site got built, they put good info under help desk. Should I create an additional return policy in the footer? Yes, I believe you should. I think the return policy should be a single page standing on its own here in the footer section. Yep. Okay, guys, let's talk about what needs to be in your return policy. Can we just make a little list together real quick? Let me zoom in here. Let's make a little list. Call this return policy. Tell me, those of you guys who are here live, what should be included in our return policy? And keep in mind the pain points of our customers. Customers want a return policy that's convenient, that's cheap, and that's not confusing. Okay? So we definitely need to make this clear. I'm going to just put this as number 1. Make simple and clear. A return policy doesn't need to be a giant wall of text. We want it simple, easy to sort of skim through, easy to understand, easy to read. It doesn't need to be overly confusing and shouldn't be. All right, so here's the way I think we should do it. I'm going to make a list of questions. We're going to call this questions that need answering by your return policy. Okay. Number 1. How about just what is the policy? What's your policy? Do you take returns? So it needs to be very clear at the top of your policy. Yes, we do take returns. And here's the circumstances where we'll take a return. So what is your return policy? What can I return? What can't I return? Okay, if you're selling makeup on your website, or you're selling shoes or clothing or shampoo or lotion, or some sort of consumable that once opened can't and shouldn't be returned and used by somebody else, you need to make that very clear that you've got some product on your site that is not allowed to be returned. And if you have a lot of product like that, but you also have some product that does fall in the parameters of being able to be returned, please make that clear. On a product itself, let's say I'm a beauty accessory type website and I do sell a lot of makeup. On my makeup products, in their description, I may say no returns in the description of the product itself. And I may reiterate the fact here in my return policy. I might say something that, hey, certain makeup products do not fall under the return policy, and make that clear so there's no confusion there. Who pays the return shipping, right? Isn't that a good question? That's all. I always wonder about that. In fact, I bought a pair of shoes over Christmas that I really thought I'd love, but I got them and I hate them. They're so uncomfortable. So I'm gonna return those. And I haven't got on for this specific website that I got the shoes at. I haven't got on and looked, but boy, I'm hoping they'll just pay the return for me. Amazon would. A lot of eBay sellers do. A lot of your big chain stores do. It's nice to know that the company will simply just take, they'll take it, right? They'll pay for it. Now I know you guys are small businesses, and you're probably not going to be able just to pay for everybody's return shipping. So I think it's wise sometimes if you're writing a little return policy, you might say something like, will handle the cost of the return shipping under certain circumstances. For example, if the item is arrived broken or with missing parts, we'll be happy to pay the shipping. If your item is incorrect, meaning the wrong color, or we simply send you the wrong item, we'll handle the return shipping. If we made the mistake, we're basically handling it. That's kind of the way you want to look at it. Because I would be willing to bet, and you'll have to look at your supplier's return policy, but I would be willing to bet that they handle it. Be shocked if they don't, right? Most companies will. It's just good business. But if it's a case of you have a customer who buys a product and they end up just deciding they don't want it after a couple of weeks. They're like, no, I don't want it. Or no, it's just, it's cited later that wasn't a good idea. I've got some buyer's remorse. I don't want it. I want to ship it back. I think under those circumstances, maybe you shouldn't be on the hook to pay return shipping. In fact, I think the buyer should then return or pay the return shipping. That's kind of the policy we usually take on eBay. I think we teach a lot of you guys to do it that way. So again, bottom line is you can't really answer these questions unless you know your supplier's return policy. So please study that and understand it before you try to write your own. I'm just reading through some of your comments real quick. So Kirk's telling about an experience with shoes where Amazon wouldn't take the return. Yep. Yeah, so let me read your comment here, Bracky. He says, with my website, the drop shipper policy really is the one who determines the true return policy. Or in other words, his supplier is the one that determines the policy, and that's true. So I should just basically put down their policy in my write-up. Yeah. But here's where this becomes a little more confusing. If you've got one supplier with one policy, that's easy. Just take their policy, put it in your own words, make it very clear, and put it onto your website. But what happens if you have 3 or 4 companies that you work with, drop shippers? It's hard to create one cover-all policy. And so in that case, you may have to, in your return page, say something like, some of our products have their own return policy. Please see the product description for more details on that product's return policy. And then you can make sure on each individual product, if it's from a supplier that has sort of a different policy, you can build it into the actual product page. But you want to do your best to still have kind of a general return policy. Yes, we take returns. Yes, if something has missing parts or we send you the wrong thing, we'll pay the return shipping. I mean, these are questions that need to be answered. How about this one? How do I start a return? Okay. Like, what's the process? Like, who do I contact? How do I start a return? That's a good question, isn't it? That needs to be very clear. Because you don't want to have happen? You don't want that to be unclear, and then someone to simply grab a box, put the product in the box, and ship it back to whatever address was on the label. All of a sudden, your supplier gets this product sent back to them from some random person, and they're like, I don't even know what this product is doing here. You want to make sure that you authorize the return first, okay? So you might say something about this like, I would type, before you can start a return, it must be approved by our returns department. Please contact us at, and then whatever. Put in your email address. Please contact us at whatever at gmail.com and let us know what happened. We'd love to help. Okay, whatever. Okay, but most of your returns, you should start it with an email, and you should approve the return before it actually happens. Okay. That way, if it's like a broken item, let's say it's an item that's broken, and this person emails and like, hey, I got an item, but the necklace that was attached to the pendant is snapped and can't use it, and I'm mad about it. Well, you can contact your supplier and say, hey, this necklace that you shipped out, our customer's mad because it's broken. What can we do? And your supplier is going to be like, oh crap, sorry about that. Hey, let's get them a return label, and then you can email out that return label to them. Your supplier is going to be great if they make a mistake. Where it gets a little iffy is what's the policy on something that the person just decides they don't want. That you need to make sure you understand from your supplier, and that needs to be very clear here in your return policy. Okay. All right, so these are some things that need to be there. So, I mean, however you want to format it is fine. Let's edit the return policy here. And we'll just put something down real quick and finish up. I'll let you format it however you want. Okay, but you might do it in question form. I've seen people do it like this. Do you have a return? Or no, we should do it like this. What is your return policy? And then you could have the answer right here. Right? Number 2, like do it in a list of questions like we were doing it. How do I begin a return? You contact us at blah, 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 right? Once authorized, we will send you a return label, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? 3, what if I decide I want to return an item, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, you can write your questions here. Question return policy is kind of nice because I can quickly kind of scan through here, and I feel like I can understand your return policy pretty easily. If you don't want to do it this way, you can do it and just put it in a little paragraph, right? We can say, we do accept returns. Please note that we have a 30-day return policy If the item arrives broken or damaged, please contact us within the 30 days for a complete refund or return, etc. Right? So you can just write this out. You can write this out yourself, and I won't go into detail on doing this right now. So do it how you want to do it. But just take what we've talked about and make sure it's formatted so it's not just this giant big black wall of text, right? Because that won't get read. It needs to be spaced out. You can bold certain things or italicize certain things, but I should be able to look at your return policy and within 10 seconds, 15 seconds be able to say, okay, yeah, they've got a return policy. Oh, okay. So if I want to return something, this is who I contact. Oh, so it's a 60-day policy. Got it. Okay. You know what I mean? I should be able to skim through that and see that pretty easily. This is an important page on your site, guys. Returns are extremely important. One of the reasons why small businesses, I think, struggle with their new websites is they're not clear on their return policy. It's a little iffy, and somebody's like, "No, I'm not going to take the chance on this cool little website. I'm just going to go to Amazon and buy it because I don't even care if I have to spend more. I'm just going to buy it from Amazon because at least I know that the return policy is easy with Amazon. Or I can just return it through Walmart. I'll just buy it from Walmart.com because it's easy." Make sure it's clear. And I'd encourage you to, go out there and look at some of your competition that's out there online and look at their return policies, because really you just need to be, you need to be in line with what your competition is doing, right? If you sell furniture and you're in the furniture niche, well, I mean, maybe your return policy is a little more stringent because it's not like it's jewelry being shipped. With furniture, shipping is very expensive, and so therefore, the return policy is going to be interesting. It's going to be different. So it is sort of industry specific too. Keep that in mind. Okay, well, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. By the time we're done here, you guys should know now why returns are important. You should know how to create a return policy page and add information in. And you guys should know what needs to go on it. But the number one rule is go learn your policy from your supplier right now. If you don't know it, go learn it right now. If you've got 3 suppliers, go learn it right now. And if something doesn't make sense or whatever and you need a little more coaching and help with it, obviously contact your coach and talk to him about it, okay? This is something we want to make sure is done well, and it shouldn't be overly complicated. Remember, right on this list, it talked about people want a convenient, easy return policy. They don't want something complicated. So let's make sure it's easy and convenient, okay? Okay, well, I'm going to open it up for questions just real quick. This is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to take a lot of questions on it. But if you've got some, go ahead and fire away, and then we'll finish up, okay? I'll put you on hold. You guys are a quiet bunch. Must mean there's about 25 of you. There's a good enough group. Must mean that this is pretty clear for the most part. If there's part of it that wasn't, please contact me. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. We'll finish up, get your return policies done, get them on the site. Let's make sure they look good, and then we'll go from there. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next Wednesday, same time, same place. Thanks again.